scream and shout with all your might.
Scream, shout, whine, cry, snivel, whatever.
Dig in your heels and hold on tight.
Shove your opinion up your ass, super glue your butt cheeks together.
Either you are wrong or I am right.
Do not forget the ever-present, the most likely possibility you are wrong and I am right. Welcome to another edition of Stating the Obvious. I am back. We are back. Randy, my tongue is not back, apparently. Randy and I are back. We have had breakfast. I had my Saturday morning 10-kilometer run. I have nice cold water. No coffee because I'm coffeeed out. A little opera playing in the background here. We're ready to get back to it. I recently saw iRobot with Will Smith. That was a hideous movie. Talk about just pissing all over Isaac Asimov's memory. Oof. God, that movie was bad. Alright, where was I? Where were we? We were talking about education. About the Republicans attempting to take control of the educational process and stifle free speech at college universities. Up until this point, of course, controlling the curriculum at universities and stifling free speech has always been the domain of the Democrats. Now that the Republicans are trying to get in on the game, not surprisingly, the Democrats are a little pissed off. Where the hell did we leave off? Oh yeah, we were talking about this. Now, I'm picking up in the middle of a conversation which is continued from the previous edition of Stating the Obvious. And actually, I don't remember. Did I name that file correctly? No, I don't have a clue. We'll check it later. Okay. I'm reading from the Rocky Mountain Bullhorn and responding to some of the things written in here. Doot. Heather Schmidt whined because one of her professors, her professor ridiculed President Bush and impugned former President Reagan. Then we have Mario Nicholas, who says his professor said the R in Republican stands for racist and labeled Nicholas a Nazi when he complained. And then we have the young Republican at Metro State who said that his professor charged him of joining the class specifically to spy on her being the professor. All of these little incidents have something in common. It's called whiny, snivelly little shitheads. If you're taking a class at a university and you're a Republican and you get a college professor who's a Democrat and says bad things about George Bush, first of all, why are you surprised? Colleges have for a long time been Democratic strongholds. The elite, the liberal intelligentsia has always been an elitist bunch of snobby shitheads who think they're right and everybody else is wrong. They're also a group of people who think they should be above standards. They think they should be allowed to do anything they want without anybody questioning them. So as a Republican, as a conservative, taking a class at a college, why are you surprised when somebody stands in front of the classroom and says that the R in Republican stands for racist? And furthermore, do you seriously expect one of these people to point out that only the Democratic Party has a senator who used to be a dragon in the Ku Klux Klan. Do you seriously expect one of these people to stand up there and say that it was a Republican president who freed the slaves? And I say freed the slaves. I'm holding up my arms, making those little quotation marks in the air, because those of us who aren't stupid all know that Abraham Lincoln's war to end slavery didn't become a war to end slavery until 4 years into the war, when he realized things were going bad on the public relations front. And that freeing these slaves was actually just a public relation move, much like George Bush was hoping to discover some weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. The article continues. Representative Angie Pisoni of Fort Collins, she says blah blah blah. She says, why are we using valuable time and taxpayer dollars going after our professors, trying to punish them for doing their job, when we might not have any professors or universities left if we don't fix this budget problem? I highlighted this for some reason. I'm trying to figure out why I highlighted it. See, this is the disadvantage of operating here at Stating the Obvious as we do without notes. This is also the disadvantage. Randy, what are you doing? I didn't do any of the introduction material. No, you forgot to remind me. I did not say that this is Stating the Obvious, brought to you by the Cynical Libertarian Society. I did not say that today is the 13th of August, 2005. I did not say that the Stating the Obvious theme song is You Know I'm Right, performed by David Gilmour off the 1984 album About Face. And I did not say that the email address, if you want to contact Stating the Obvious, is STO, as in Stating the Obvious, for those of you who need to have the obvious stated for you, STO at 204eastsouth.com. Of course, you can find the Cynical Libertarian Society at 204eastsouth.com. I did not say any of those things, and I'm blaming you. Why? Because I do not have to take personal responsibility. I am a Democrat, and I am completely unresponsible, irresponsible, not responsible for anything that I do. If I took my pants down right now and I pissed right here on the floor, it would not be my fault. It would be the fault of evil, rich white men who vote Republican. Because everything is the Republicans' fault. Rich white men voting Republican have caused everything. Every single bad thing that has happened in the history of the world. So if I pissed on the floor right now, it would not be my fault. Because as a Democrat, I have no intelligence. I mean, initiative. I mean, anything. No. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out why are we using valuable time and taxpayer dollars going after our professors? Well, you know, why do we use valuable time and money going after Republicans? Why do we use time and money going after cigarette smokers? Why do we use time and money going after 19-year-old people who drink? I mean, why do we waste time and money going... It's power. I mean, how stupid is this bitch? It's power. That's probably what I was going to say about that, because that's what it boils down to. She's asking us to... See, again, this is just a Democrat being pissed off because Republicans are tapping into their shtick. The suppression of speech on college campuses has always been where the Democrats excel. And now the Republicans are trying to get in, and the Democrats are just pissy. Eric Shalab has witnessed certain changes in the way instructors have been teaching since ABOR and academic freedom issues exploded onto the Colorado academic scene. Like many educators interviewed for this story... I pause there because I'm thinking about like many educators interviewed for this story. Yeah, I love when journalists try to pretend they've actually done research or something for the shit that they write. Like many educators interviewed for this story, he believes such events have had a chilling effect on the learning climate. Oh, the chilling effect. Oh, it's so chilling. Put on a coat. Shelub is chair of the Arts and Letters Department at Front Range Community College in Fort Collins. Recently, a graphic design instructor approached Shelub with an idea for a project. Quote, she wanted to illustrate how images can skew reality and how someone can use images to sway opinion. And she wondered about using an electoral college map to discuss how coloring states red or blue might be one way to look at it, but might not be the only way. Shelub says the instructor nixed the idea because she feared the demonstration would somehow be viewed as partisan or biased, although it wasn't intended as such, and she'd face repercussions. If as a student you can't handle somebody putting up an electoral college map with the states colored different colors, if a student can't handle that, you're an idiot and you shouldn't be in college. And if the instructor isn't terrified to do this because she thinks she's going to face repercussions, then why the fuck are you teaching for? All of this just boils down to what didn't I just say something else? Randy, did I not just say stupid people? You have stupid instructors, you have stupid students, and here's the thing, she can't get in trouble for this if other stupid people don't help. Let's say that she puts this map up in her class, and she says, let's talk about how this skews reality, and let's say somebody gets offended. Okay, so the stupid person is offended. Unless the stupid person has other stupid people to back him up, it's not going to matter. The stupid person, say, goes to the head of the department and whines. Unless the head of the department is stupid and tells him and takes his side, then it's not going to go anywhere. If he goes to the president of the college and whines, unless the president of the college is stupid, and it's not going to go anywhere. He goes out, and this is, of course, where everything falls apart. Let's say he goes out looking for a lawyer. You can always find a stupid lawyer. In fact, is there any other kind of lawyer? You can always find a stupid lawyer who's willing to say, oh yeah, we can sue somebody for that and I can make some money so I can make my Porsche payment. The problem here is actually twofold. There's two aspects to this whole problem. Stupidity, stupid people, and lawyers. Because let's say a student got offended by seeing a red-blue map of the United States. Normal people would tell this student to fucking get over it. But somewhere out there, there's a lawyer who's going to think, wow, this is a serious threat to intellectual freedom. Well, alright, actually the lawyer's not going to think. The lawyer's going to think this is a way to make the boat payment. But somewhere out there, there's a lawyer who's scumbag enough to take this case and to push it and push it and push it. If there were no stupid people, none of this would be an issue. It says in the article here, this is hilarious. Oh, both of these are great. Alright. Groups such as the CSU College Republicans and the ironically named Students for Academic Freedom are aggressively trying to stifle the free learning environment that students or their parents pay for and are entitled to in a public university or college. They are trying to enforce government control of the classroom. Government control of the classroom. Is this the classroom at the college, which is owned and controlled by the government, with the professor who is paid by the government, in the classroom, in the building, which was built and paid for by the government, on the campus, which is owned by the government? Imagine that. Government control of a government employee in a government building doing a government job for a government institution. I have said over and over again, the solution to the education problems we have in this country, and we've got them, is to get the fucking government out of the education business. And here we have people so stupid that they actually think the government should not be controlling the government's education system. As long as the government is controlling the education process, the government's going to control the education process. That's kind of the nature of controlling the education process, would be to control the education process. That's why they call this show Stating the Obvious. Because you see, I have to explain this to you people. If you want to get the government out of college classrooms, you got to get the government out of the college business. It's that fucking... But of course, the Democrats aren't interested in this. Liberals are not interested in this. Because when a liberal says, they don't want the government to enforce control of the classrooms, what they mean is they don't want Republicans to have control of the classrooms. They want Democrats to have control of the classrooms. I have another here. This is a comment from a student, a freshman. Does it say what class? Or not what class, what school? I think this is some idiot from CSU. This stupid little student named John writes, "Academic freedom will not come from hiring more conservative professors or from banning controversial opinions. Academic freedom comes from open discussions in which respect is shown for all sides." I love the way liberals always talk about open discussions where respect is showed for all sides. When's the last time you saw a liberal having an open discussion and showing respect for somebody who is a racist or a Nazi, or thinks abortion is murder, or believes in God, or thinks that there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, or thinks that George Bush is a good president, or thinks that homosexuals are evil, or what the hell ever? When's the last time you ever saw or heard a Democrat attempt to have an open and respectful discussion with someone that disagrees with him? I will submit, very seldom. Democrats love to talk about respect, and tolerance, and diversity, and all these other little buzzwords that they think mean so much. But you notice, Democrats are never very good at pulling their heads out of their asses and actually practicing any of these little buzzwords that they have. Hey, she's cute. But no, not you, Randy. Well, we know you're cute, but I was talking about the picture in the paper here. There's a cross-dressers club in Fort Collins, so you learn something new every day. Ooh, boy. Now I'm taking a look at this article. This is a good one. This is also from the bullshit. I mean the bullhorn. This is an article they did about the 9/11 truth movement. You see, there are these hippies who have decided that 9/11 was perpetrated by George Bush. I'm trying to think if I should intro this or if I should just go into it. You see, these people believe that George Bush masterminded 9/11 for financial and political gain. Now let's keep in mind, these are the same people who think that George Bush is an illiterate monkey who can't engage in a debate unless Dick Cheney has a little speaker in his ear to feed him answers. These are the people who think George Bush is a complete moron, who can barely wipe his own ass. And yet, this idiot, this moron, managed to mastermind the 9/11 attack on America. Well, attack on a couple of buildings. At the same time, these same people see, of course, nothing at all evil in the assault on Waco. They see nothing at all wrong with Ruby Ridge. They totally believe that Timothy McVeigh blew that building up all by himself with a truck full of fertilizer. Yet 9/11 was masterminded by Bush. Alright, let me just begin reading what I have highlighted here. This is a long article, and I actually only have a few things covered here. Because most of this is just liberal, fantasy about George Bush being the Satan and everything. The 9/11 truth movement, indeed, is gaining momentum as of late and prominence, even in the mainstream media. The mainstream media, is that the same media that lied about those forged papers about George Bush? Hey, let's forge some papers about George Bush so he loses the election. Okay, Dan, what should we forge some papers about? That he murders children? That he's a rapist? That he was arrested for cocaine? No, let's forge some papers that, he didn't take a physical when he was in the Air Force Reserve. Wow, that'll outrage him. That was good. People, if you're gonna lie about somebody, lie about something important. Even if it was true, who would possibly fucking care? I mean, why would liberals? Liberals hate the military. You would think liberals say, yay, George Bush, he didn't take his physical. Anyway. From the article, Smoke Clears, 9/11 Truth Movement Gaining Momentum. Excuse me while I laugh. The first thing that got me looking at it was the Patriot Act, Woosley says. We're talking thousands and thousands of pages worth of law. How could they get such a massive document out in 2 days? Okay, let me explain to those of you out there how the Patriot Act, which is thousands of pages long, was passed in 2 days. First of all, most of this stuff was already written. A lot of the things in the Patriot Act were things that Congress and agencies like the FBI, the CIA, ATF, blah, 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 had all tried to pass from starting way back in the Clinton days, and none of it was getting through. So it's not like this was written that, the airplane hit the World Trade Center and somebody started writing this. Virtually every single page of this was written before any of this ever happened. This was all old legislation that was trying to make its way through. They simply took all these things, bundled them together, called it the Patriot Act, said this is to save us from terrorism, and it worked. The second reason this passed is because people in Congress don't read the shit that they vote on. If you think that those congressmen and those senators sitting up there actually read the things they vote on, you're a fucking idiot. These people are passing law after law after law after law. These things are hundreds, thousands pages long. They're not reading this stuff. They have no idea what they are voting on. And that is, of course, one of the huge problems we have with our country. And, of course, you idiots out there are just trying to give these same people more power and have them pass even more shit. So there's the answer to your question. The website Woosley refers to, September11th.org, is the 9/11 Visibility Project. It's an educational activist outlet for the so-called 9/11 Truth Movement, which is backed by such national progressive notables as Howard Zinn, Medea Benjamin, Gore Vidal, and Jim Hightower. Now, I don't really know anything about these first three, but Jim Hightower is, of course, an idiot. By the way, that September 11th is spelled out ELEVENTH, September11th.org. Anything backed by Jim Hightower is got to be fucked up. But I'm putting it out there just so those of you out there can go and visit the website and see the stupidity for yourselves. In fact, I should dial it up. Let me flip over to my browser quickly. Open a new window. Come on, computer. Any day now. There we go. September 11th. I can't spell. That might be right. Aaron Long and Elliot Nish formed a band in high school called Hunter's Conscience. We have songs that talk about 9/11 and Bush and all that stuff, and that's how we first started getting engaged, Long says. Great, so they're engaged. Wait, is this about 9/11 or is this about homosexual marriage? Alright, that was a joke. I know most of you didn't get it. Those of you who are Democrats, of course, have no sense of humor. and think that I hate gay people. And why? Because you're losers, but it's okay. VENTH.org. Alright, I'm typing that in again because I typed it in wrong. You know, I love little high school kids. Oh, Niche, it says here. Niche, 19, lives with his parents and cooks at Avogadro's number. You know, this is where reporters at the Bullhorn get their information from. 19-year-old kids who live with their parents and are cooks at local restaurants. This is, if you're a liberal Democrat reporter, this is your idea of a source. This is where you go for up-to-date, accurate information about what happened in New York City. Is a 19-year-old kid who cooks at Avogadro's number, a well-known hippie hangout here in Fort Collins, Colorado. Not that I have anything against Avos. I like Avos. Haven't been there in ages, but it's a cool place. And we've got the 9/11 Visibility Project on the internet browser here, on the Opera internet browser. There is, of course, no Internet Explorer on Linux, thank God. And I see a lot of whining. Yeah, I see some crying. The truth of war. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Alright. You know, this looks like most liberal Democrat websites. This looks incredibly boring. Oh, this is funny. Not surprisingly, for a regular KHNC listener, Nish is a member of the Constitution Party, and he voted for its candidate, Maryland's Michael somebody, for president. Long and Woosley are registered Democrats, but they consider themselves libertarians or constitutionalists or somewhere in between. Let me tell you something. You can't be a libertarian and be this stupid, okay? Even the dumbest libertarian out there would not fall for this shit. Here we have little Hurley is commenting as he's watching a video of the tower falling down. He says, "Look at how straight down that thing comes. There's no way it could have happened without explosives." So, let me see if I got this right. You're a demolitions expert now. And how many tall skyscrapers have you blown up that you know how a skyscraper falls down? And all on top of this, no steel structure building in the world has ever before collapsed due to fire. That's fact. Well, maybe not. Maybe it hasn't collapsed due to fire, but it did get hit with an airplane. Now, some people have brought up the fact that an airplane hit the Empire State Building and it didn't fall down. I would point out that the Empire State Building was built a longer time ago, back when Americans weren't as stupid as they probably were when the World Trade Center was built. And even then, Americans are smarter than they are today. I mean, if you took a skyscraper built today, you could probably piss on it and it would fall over, because the intelligence of the people building it is getting progressively lower. You know, the Empire State Building was built by real men who weren't little pussies. That's why it was hit by an airplane and didn't fall over. Back to the article. It says, they spend the next half hour spouting off facts and figures gathered from videos, books, internet sites without hesitation. They interrupt each other and literally finish each other's sentences. They explain how Towers 1 and 2 may have been demolished too. So, these little 19-year-old kids have spent a lot of time memorizing information off the internet, and now they are regarded by the media as experts. It amazes me where the media will go for information. How Pentagon photographs show a hole too small for a 757 and no wreckage was found at the site. Photos of unscathed office equipment and a book within the building's wreckage prove that it wasn't jet fuel burning. And video camera from a nearby gas station was confiscated by the feds. Now, here, again, this takes me back to the Timothy McVeigh thing. Here we're sitting here going, oh, look, that the Pentagon couldn't have been hit by an airplane because the hole in the Pentagon isn't big enough. Yet these same people look at a picture of the federal building supposedly blown up by Timothy McVeigh, and you see this giant hole which was supposedly caused by this fertilizer blowing up, and the hole is in completely wrong shape for an explosion of that type. You have these concrete pillars which have been wiped out by an explosion that couldn't have been hot enough to do that, and right next to it you have desks sitting there with shit on it undisturbed. They see no conspiracy there at all. I know. No, see, that's perfectly okay. But they look at this, and they see what they claim is the same type of evidence, and suddenly this is a major disaster. I can't take these people seriously, not only because they're 19-year-old kids that live with their parents, but I can't take these people seriously because they've only noticed the discrepancies here on the whole 9/11 saga. It's amazing how the blinders can prevent you from seeing the discrepancies that involve Democrats. And that's why when they say they're not Democrats, that they're libertarians or constitutionalists or what, I know that they're lying. The article continues. Canadian independent journalist somebody who lives in mommy's basement and has an internet connection. Canadian independent journalist Barry Zwicker, who made one of the films Truth Seekers cite faithfully, doesn't mind being called a conspiracy theorist, though with his trimmed gray beard, patterned sweater, and bifocals, he perhaps at least resembles one. I love it when people call me a conspiracy theorist, Zwick says, from his home in Toronto, because the phrase is an intellectually bankrupt, put-down phrase used by people who refuse to look at evidence that's right in front of them. Like, for example, the way you refuse to look at the evidence right in front of you, such as A, why is a Canadian fucking worried about it? You go back to your fucking Canada and stay there, eh? I don't like Canadians. For those of you new to this show, I used to not have anything against Canadians, but then I had to work for some Canadians, and now Canadians are not on my favorite people list anymore. Intellectually bankrupt put-down phrases. Oh yes, like Democrats don't use tons of those. Like, remember slightly earlier when the college professor told his class that the R in Republican stands for racist? Now see, that's not an intellectually bankrupt put-down phrase. No, not at all. Why? Because the Democrats said it. See, and that's okay. But when you tell an idiot like this that no, an airplane actually did fly into the building, you are an intellectually bankrupt person who is putting him down. The very last sentence of this article says, quote, "We must march to Washington for the truth." And this is exactly why we'll never know the truth. Let me tell you something, man. Marching to Washington is not how you get the truth about anything. This illustrates one of the great fallacies of the American people. The first being that everything, all truth, all power, all greatness lies in Washington. All truth, all power, all greatness lies in the hands of the federal government. That's why we must march to Washington, because that's where the federal government is, and the federal government is the end-all, the be-all, the know-all. Kids, as long as you've got that attitude, you're going to continue to be slaves. The answer is not in Washington. There's nothing in Washington but intellectually bankrupt idiots who are manipulating you and using you. Furthermore, marching, this is the other fallacy these people have, is that going out, oh my gosh, going out and running around and protesting and marching and all this other silliness is going to provide some kind of answer. You know what? You can stand on the street corner. You can march. You can do this shit all day long. You are not going to solve a goddamn thing. What you people don't understand is that the solution for problems is called action. Action does not mean marching. It doesn't mean protesting. It doesn't mean holding up your little sign. It means getting off your ass and doing something. That's why I've said over and over again, these people who claim to care about the homeless don't care about the homeless, because if they did, they'd take action. They'd get a homeless person, they'd take the homeless person home, and they'd let them live there. The homeless person wouldn't be homeless anymore. But no, it's easier to protest and to march and all this other shit, because none of that actually accomplishes anything. Let's move along. Yeah, whatever. Okay, where are we? Oh, here is a column by Robert Reich, the former Secretary of Labor in the Clinton administration, whining about Social Security. As we know, the Democrats are constantly trying to terrify old people into voting Democrat by telling them about how the Republicans are going to take away their Social Security. And here we have 2 paragraphs from Robert Reich on this topic. Start with the irrefutable fact that Social Security is a pay-as-you-go system. The payroll taxes of today's workers go to today's retirees, and when today's workers retire, they'll be supported by the next generation's payments into Social Security. In other words, Social Security is a compact between generations based on trust. I pay into Social Security to support my parents' generation in their retirement because I trust that my children's generation will pay into Social Security to support my generation in our retirement. If their Social Security payments are diverted into their own private accounts, their money won't be there for my generation's retirement. The compact will be broken. Let's look at the 2 important things this is telling us. First of all, that Social Security and being a Democrat is about selfishness. Listen to this. If their Social Security payments are diverted into their own private accounts, their money won't be there for my generation's retirement. You see, if you are allowed to take your money and put your money in your own private account, then your money will not be there for me to spend when I retire. This is a Democrat. This is the enlightened, sharing unselfishness of the Democrat Party. If you're allowed access to your own money, it won't be there for the Democrats to spend when they're old. The second thing he says here, this is great to finally have a Democrat admit this, because the lie that we have been told over and over and over, my grandmother, she's on Social Security, she still believes this shit. The lie we are being told by the Democrats and by the government is that there's money in Social Security. Why, there's plenty of money there. And he's saying, no, it's a pay-as-you-go system. The money we're paying in today is paying the old people on Social Security. But the lie the people on Social Security have been told is that their money has been there. They put that money in the government, and the government's been sitting on that money. That there's this big box full of money that's been paid by people 40, 50, 60 years ago, and that money's been sitting there all these years. And now that they've retired, that money is coming out of that box and paying them. How many times have you heard people talk about the Social Security Reserve and all this other stuff? People have said, no, why, we have plenty of money for so. And now here's Robert Reich admitting Social Security is a pay-as-you-go program, that there is no money there. The government has no Social Security money set aside. I'm paying right now the money that's going to the people who are retired. The government, Robert Reich, is admitting that the government is taking money away from me and giving it to these other people. Now, here's a question. After I take a nice big drink of water, I want you to imagine this with me. Think about this. When the government first started Social Security, people first started paying, there was nobody already on Social Security because Social Security didn't exist. So all those people who started paying in, the money went into Social Security, but there's nobody getting it because there's nobody on Social Security. What happened to all that money? If it's a pay-as-you-go system, the very first people to pay, where did that money go? Imagine that. There's no Social Security money, people. And how dare you think that you have a right to your own money? You know something? In fact, that is that is such a beautiful, beautiful quote. That is going on the webpage in the quote section. That is just too fucking priceless. How dare you expect to have your own money? I mean, who the hell do you people think you are? How selfish. How selfish are you people out there to expect to be able to do what you want to do with your own money? Who is this idiot? Oh, God. Meg Corwin is a part-time teacher. See, and you look at these people. We're moving on to the next article, written by Meg Corwin, who is a part-time teacher. You wonder why our kids are so fucked up and why our colleges have all the problems they have. You look at the people who are teachers. She's a part-time teacher, a part-time writer, and a full-time rabble-rouser. Oh, that is so cute. Gosh, this is such serious journalism. We have cutesy little bylines. Look at us, we're journalists. Look, our authorities on information are 19-year-old kids who live at home with their mommy. We're serious journalists here at the Bullhorn. Meg writes in her column entitled, I Told You So. Well, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. Shortly after the first Bush-Kerry debate, I wrote in this column that Kerry would lose, and why that would happen. Liberals just don't get it. They don't understand the way people in America's heartland think, and how they make political decisions. So far, I'll agree with her. Liberals don't get it. Most of the folks who live in these regions are pragmatic, down-to-earth, and cling tightly to a set of values that emphasize family, community, and a shared belief in God. They are suspicious of big government and taxes. They believe taxes, not Texas. Randy's like, what? And believe without question in the moral superiority of America and its good intentions towards the rest of the world. They don't follow politics closely. And here comes the veiled insults. They don't follow politics closely, don't tune into it unless there is a major presidential election year, and then gather most of their information from TV news and political ads. They don't want to think about issues and policy programs, but want feel-good rhetoric and fuzzy images that reinforce their cultural beliefs and values. They don't respond to facts or reason, something that drives liberals nuts. They are perfect targets for manipulation in an electoral system based on image and rhetoric. Because, yes, we know that liberals... Let's see, what are all the things liberals believe which are supported with no evidence whatsoever? No facts, only rhetoric and emotional manipulation. Let's see, we have global warming, we have holes in the ozone, we have AIDS running rampant among the heterosexual population, we have... Oh! Yes! Randy says, we have the idea that George Bush faked the 9/11 in order to make money. We have the idea that the Republicans are out to get liberals on college campuses. We have the idea that, what's the number this week? Aren't we up to like 1 out of 3 women in America has been raped? I remember one time it used to be 1 out of 5, but it changes constantly. Liberals are the masters of having beliefs that have no logical or rational support. And liberals are the masters of manipulation. For example, man, I'm umming a lot. For example, who is it that every election year, we just talked about this. Who is it, that every election year goes out on television and says, old people, the Republicans are going to take away your Social Security. The Social Security that you deserve because you worked so hard to pay into the system. The same system that Robert Reich just admitted in his column doesn't actually have any money in it because it's a pay-as-you-go system, and so all the money you gave to Social Security has already been spent on something else. But the evil Republicans are going to take away your Social Security and your Medicare and your Medicaid, and you're going to starve to death out on the street. Who says that every election year? I'm pretty sure it's the Democrats. So, Meg starts out with a valid point that liberals don't understand how normal people think. And after that, she just starts and why is it that when remember earlier when the conspiracy theorist Wacko said that people who insult him, he had that whiny eye, threw it across the room. So when you insult a left-wing conspiracy theorist Wacko, you are intellectually bankrupt. But when a stupid bitch like Meg insults a bunch of people she's never met in her life, the people in Heartland America, well, this is perfectly okay. They don't follow politics closely. They don't tune into the they get most of their information from TV news and political ads. Excuse me. We are talking. If they get most of their news from TV, what's wrong with that? Considering the television media is dominated by liberals. Can you say Dan Rather? Can you say Peter Jennings? Can you say Tom Brokaw? Can you say, oh, look, we have forged documents that George Bush didn't take a physical? I mean, I am so sick of hearing about Fox News. Okay, Fox News is conservative, and Fox News has its problems, but it's Fox News against the world. Wah. She continues, and here starts the whining. The first thing we need to do is kill the Electoral College, which one political scientist has called the linchpin of the two-party system. Pull that, and multiple parties will flourish. And multiple parties means more ideas in the political marketplace, which can only be a good thing. Along with yanking the Electoral College, we need to shorten the campaign season to no more than 60 days. Follow that with public financing of campaigns with caps on spending amounts and mandated free airtime on our public airwaves to allow candidates to participate in weekly substantive debates. Let's look at this. First, you'll notice that Democrats have never been offended by the Electoral College system when Bill Clinton won 2 elections with less than 50% of the popular vote in both cases. Never a problem. During the whole 8 years of Clinton, Electoral College system, never a problem. All of a sudden, oh my God, we lost an election. Electoral College must be destroyed, is evil, source of all bad things, like rich Republicans and Skippy. Shorten the campaign season to 60 days. Now, telling people they can't campaign more than 60 days, so you're going to do what? You're going to go out and tell the politicians you're not allowed to campaign until 60 days before the election. What do you consider campaigning? Telling someone they can't disseminate information except during a certain time frame. Isn't that limiting free speech? Isn't freedom of speech what the Democrats are all about? Isn't that what we constantly hear about, the freedom of speech and how the Democrats are protecting it, and how, if the bad Republicans get their way, we're all going to be silenced? Caps on spending amounts. Caps on spending. What about this? What if we cap the amount of money that newspapers can spend? Oh my God! Why, you're abridging freedom of the press. But wait, it's okay to cap the amount of money that politicians can spend. If the politician can raise the money, why can't the politician spend it? The reason, of course, is that Democrat politicians don't raise as much money as Republican politicians, because Republicans are smart enough to kiss ass with rich people, whereas Democrats are out there trying to kiss ass with poor minorities because that's the only people they can fool into voting for them. Mandated free airtime. I love when liberal Democrats think that things are free. Free airtime. Why, yes. See, the equipment used to broadcast the television, the cameras used to record it, the technicians who are there to operate the equipment, all of those things, see, those things are free. They're all free. They're just free. You're sitting there and all of a sudden a television camera just flutters down from the sky. And then a camera operator just flutters down from the sky. And then the electricity to power all the equipment to send out the signal. See, it just flutters down from the sky. Because it's free. Oh, it's free. It's free. Free. It's free. Everything's free. Liberals do not grasp that there's no fucking such thing as free. That's why they think that government healthcare is going to be free. Because when the government takes control of healthcare, healthcare will be free. When you need a syringe, the syringe will just magically appear. It's free. Nurses will just magically appear. Little babies will just appear and instantly grow up, and they'll go to nursing school, and it'll all be free. They'll just magically have all the knowledge of nursing school, and they'll be standing there, and they will work for free, and they won't need to eat, or their food they eat, it'll just appear for free, because everything's free, because liberals think that things are free. Have I made my point yet, or do I need to fucking go on? What? How much? Oh, alright, we're almost out of time. I can finish this. Thanks, Randy. Look at the bright side, she writes. I'm glad Kerry lost. Me too. With the Republicans firmly in control of Congress, it's not likely he would have been able to do much anyway, which is exactly what we want. We want the split so that government can't do things, you stupid bitch. When government does get things done, that's when the people get really fucked. He would also be stuck with Bush's quagmire in Iraq. 4 more years, nothing would be better. Wasn't the whole linchpin... Haven't I talked about this in the last edition? Wasn't the whole linchpin of the Kerry campaign that he was the one in the world? He was like, Keanu Reeves, I am the one. Whoa. He was the one who could fix all the chaos and problems Bush had created. Wasn't that the entire basis of his fucking campaign? Elect me, I'm going to fix everything that's wrong. I'm going to make crippled people like Christopher Reeve get out of their wheelchair and walk. Wasn't that the whole fucking point of the Kerry campaign? Was elect him so that he could fix the things that were wrong, and now the fucking Democrats are running around going, whoa, sure I'm glad he didn't win, because man, he'd had to fix all George Bush's problems. If Kerry wasn't capable of fixing George Bush's problems, then why in the fuck was he running for president?